And here it is, folks. As I had promised back in November on my Instagram account that I would vlog this process of trying to get myself work while moving to a new state. Here we are at the final video in the series. And my desk is a mess. Do I care? Nope. Because I'm in the thick of it. Letters, mailers, overflowing trash can, printer that is finicky, labels that won't print straight, loss for words, lots of yerba, and lots of time sitting and pumping out my pitch. Before I dive into my freelance shenanigans, I'll first mention that in the past few months I have applied to about 20 jobs. Granted, I know that that isn't that many in the grand scheme of things, but considering they were all jobs in my field of photo and/or video production, that's unique and something I didn't really have in Montana. And the full-time employment scenarios in Montana that did come up really were just paying peanuts. However, despite being uniquely qualified for nearly all of these jobs I applied for, I got none of them and only 2 interviews. So a total flop in the job department. Looking for employment sucks, man. They want you to be a pro videographer, a pro photographer, expert in Premiere, Lightroom, Photoshop, Audition, After Effects, Cinema 4D, DaVinci Resolve. They want you to be a graphic designer with Illustrator. They want you to know WordPress, Java, Ruby, Python, to have a bachelor's degree, master's preferred, and have somehow acquired all of this expert knowledge in 46 years. In just like 46 years. For like, I don't know, $70,000 or so. So I guess it makes sense that my photo school education, my bachelor's degree, and 25 years of experience on set as a photographer, digital tech, DP, editor, sound mixer, and producer just didn't really satisfy. On top, these employers really wanted me to be super overjoyed all the time, every single day, about their most likely super insanely boring product that they need tons of super creative content about day in and day out. Yeah, it's enough to make me want to stay a freelancer, really, despite the hurdles. So it's rough out there, kids, so stay in school, get a couple PhDs, maybe a master's and an MFA, learn to code, speak Mandarin, Leaky, and maybe Russian while you're at it, but don't take longer than 6 years. Otherwise, you too might be too old like me. Okay, snarky rant over. Now, you can start with the first video of the series if you'd like, but to recap, I relocated from Montana to Minneapolis, and outside of some of my wife's family and a couple of acquaintances, I know only one person who is in the photo industry here. This person, Jane, she was a stylist when I was a photo assistant back in 2003 or so, and we were working on the catalog for Mountain Hardware in San Francisco. We worked a number of these jobs together, and eventually she ended up moving here to Minneapolis about 20 years ago. And we really haven't been in touch since then. So knowing that I was relocating here, I reached out to her to kind of take the temperature of the industry, and she had good news. For what I do anyhow. She said, there are a gazillion photographers, but all of the techs that I know stay busy. And so my wife and I moved during a period of quiet, right up leading to the holidays, and I decided to plant my first seed, and I sent my long list of photographers and producers a personalized video that described who I am, what I do, why I'm here, and that I was hoping to get on their list. I made my video no more than 90 seconds long and funny that hit all the points succinctly. I sent that off and I received a lot of positive feedback. I had lunch with 2 different producers and met with a photographer and had good in-person connections with all of them, which really could be kind of considered that second seed planted, because even if they don't hire me directly, they have now met me and see that I'm a normal guy and they might just pass my name along. So I'm pleased to announce that last week I was booked on my first 2-day gig next week for a major client, and here's how that job shaked out. Again, one of the really important aspects of this work is networking. And here's an example as to why starting your career as a photo assistant to bigger, better photographers can be beneficial to you. Connections. Jane had said, you need to talk to my producer friend Erica. So I reached out to Erica and I sent her my fun video, and she said, OMG, you're on the list. Lo and behold, Erica booked me for this job. So I immediately thought, oh, I'm so glad that this connection I made as a photo assistant 21 years ago has given me my first gig here in my new city. But the plot thickens. I got on the phone with the photographer as I was being hired to Digitech for this particular gig, and he wanted to talk about the gear and get to know me. And he mentioned that another separate producer named Samantha, one of the ones that I'd had lunch with, had shared my video with him. And so he had requested me to this current producer, Erica, for this particular shoot. So now my name was being kind of passed around to different people, some of which who I didn't know, and everything's come together for me to get this gig. Incidentally, today, The second producer that I had lunch with just put me on hold for a project in April. So 3 producers of the many I have contacted have now brought these gigs to me, and I have that initial video to thank. But I also have the initial connection with Jane because she was essentially vouching for me for one of these gigs. And it all comes back to having that personal connection that I had a long time ago while I was a photo assistant. And I'll note here, when I was an assistant, it was a fairly serious job. I mean, we had to manage equipment, we had to run rental, coffee, lunch errands, right? Deal with hauling gear around, answer studio phones, take deliveries, and also help light shots, manage all the photographic bits, clean the bathroom, sweep the floor, all that too. I hear stories of photo assistants just chilling, sitting down, staring into their phones, and well, there's always going to be those people, right? But do you think my friend Jane would have vouched for me if I was a slacker assistant back then? If you handle yourself professionally, even as the lowly assistant, you will be in contact with all of these people, and as you begin to ascend and do other things, people are much more willing to say something positive about you if their experience of you was positive. So kick ass out there, and those connections can come back to you later in helpful ways. My experience has been that these jobs tend to snowball over time. What starts out as a 2-day gig, I do a bang-up job, shoot is productive, everyone has fun, it can easily turn into callbacks and referrals to people that might book me for 5 days, 10 days, a month, who knows. The lesson here is that when people talk about who you know, it isn't just the person hiring you directly. It might be simply you getting your name out there and your name getting passed around. And for sure, my connection to Jane the stylist helped my credibility with this producer, but considering a separate producer clued the photographer into me, he then requested me for this shoot. Well, that organic reach has paid off. The other lesson is how you get to know people. For years, I've heard from past students who just want to jump from being a photo student right into a successful advertising photographer. It's pretty rare that it can happen that way. Many successful photographers started out assisting so that they could learn how things are lit, how to interact with clients, how to get jobs, how to estimate jobs, all the nitty-gritty of running that sort of enterprise. Most people who assisted picked up knowledge that has been handed down from other older photographers, who in turn they had picked that knowledge up themselves from others. It's like a generational thing. It's the ultimate mentorship. And it's usually a paid situation. So you are learning and getting paid and making connections that might be beneficial to you, maybe even 20 years later. My next step, now that a whole month has passed since I sent that video, is direct mail. The first fun seed was planted, okay, the video. Then the second seed was planted with a few in-person meetings, okay. Now they're gonna get a hard copy postcard from me in the mail with a cover letter that has all my details, my gear, my services, my websites, my social media, and I have 4 lists going. One list of about 50 photographers wherein I market digital tech services as well as video audio support service, because many of these photographers today are involved in motion shoots. A second list of about 30 or so film and video producers, where I cater it just to my audio video skill set, and a third list of about 100 DPs, 100 of them, yeah. And my fourth list is all interior designers and architects, where I market my architectural photography specifically to them. And yes, outside of all of this, I know how to make photographs. I'm casting a wide net and seeing what comes back. The beauty is my digital tech, audio, and video support services are all about the same day rate and kit fee, so I don't really care what I'm doing week to week, and the photo projects can kind of pepper in as they come in. And if they don't, I'll still be making a good day rate and just do my other thing. After a year or two, I'll audit my list, see who has responded, see who's hired me, see which addresses are wrong, hit those people with an email follow-up, and basically just keep looking to see which jobs are bringing in what money, what ones I like doing best, which ones aren't working as well, and retool the whole approach. So thanks for watching. The ball is rolling here in my new home. I hope that someone watching this learned something from me. Last time I did this sort of thing was way back in 2002 when I first moved to San Francisco, and I was breaking into a new market then, so there you go. I guess I'm doing it again. Feel free to comment down below, like this video to help my channel grow, and subscribe for more content from me. I promise it won't all be just talking head business stuff.